Have you ever felt utterly helpless while raising a teenager? You used to say something once, and they'd listen. Now you can say it 10 times, and nothing lands. They used to hug you, act playful, be close. Now it's slamming doors, cold shoulders, and sharp comebacks. You tread carefully, and they look at you with cold eyes. You stay patient and gentle, and they push even harder. Facing a child like this, most parents feel trapped. Step in, and you risk a blow-up. Step back, and you watch them drift further away. Here's the truth. It's not that you're not trying. You just haven't found what actually works in adolescence yet. Today, as someone who has worked in youth and family education for over a decade, I want to share 10 of the most effective, transformative methods I've seen drawn from real cases, research, and hands-on practice. These aren't vague theories. They're real strategies you can start using tomorrow. Each one is designed to meet you where the pain is, in emotional chaos, relational standoffs, and rules that no longer stick and help you find your footing again. Remember, it's never too late for tools. What matters is the awakening. Method 1. Setting boundaries doesn't mean giving up. It means showing up differently. When people hear teenager, the first instinct is often, don't poke the bear. Don't mention studying, they'll explode. Don't enforce bedtimes, it'll start a fight. Don't take the phone, you'll be called controlling. So parents look the other way, hoping that backing off will buy some peace. But what actually happens? The child becomes more passive, more aimless. Screen addiction sets in. They sleep until noon. And you've lost all say in the matter. This is what I call fake freedom. It looks like letting go, but it's really giving up. Research shows that homes without structure or boundaries tend to produce more anxiety, emptiness, and avoidance in children, especially during adolescence, when self-regulation is still developing. So what's the answer? You can't control everything, but you also can't vanish. The answer is boundaried presence. What does that mean? You stop making every decision for them, but you make one thing clear. You have choices here. But we'll set the rules together, and I'll be here to help you follow through. Take screen time, for example. The wrong approach. Confiscating the phone after an argument, or giving up and letting them scroll until 2 a.m. The right approach. Sit down and ask, how much screen time do you think is reasonable each day? Share your concern. I get that you need downtime, but staying up late affects your sleep. Set a rule together. Let's agree on no phones after 10 p.m. We can check in daily and track how it's going. Why does this work? The child feels respected, so they're less likely to resist. You stay clearly positioned, so you don't lose your voice. The rule is mutual, so it's easier to follow through. Boundaries aren't about control. They're about creating clear space and shared responsibility within a relationship. You stop choosing for them, but you offer structure, accountability, and feedback. Think of it like badminton. Whoever the ball lands with hits it back. No crossing the line. No walking off the court. Here's what many teenagers fear most. Not that you'll step in, but that you'll stop talking, stop caring, stop showing up. They may act cold, but inside, they're waiting for you to say, I'm not going to decide everything for you, but I'm not going anywhere either. So if you've been holding back out of fear, it's time to reclaim your sense of boundary. Not aggressively, but gently and firmly. That kind of grounded presence, it's the safety net your teenager needs most. Method 2. The silent treatment isn't peace. It's emotional disconnection. Have you been through moments like this? After a conflict, your child shuts down, won't speak, won't look at you, won't engage, sometimes for days. You try to reach out, and all you get is, I don't know, whatever, Fine. There's no yelling in the house anymore. But there's no warmth either. It looks calm, but it's freezing. This is one of the most common responses in adolescence, the silent treatment as emotional disconnection. At its core, it's saying, I don't know how to face you, so I'd rather not face you at all. Psychologists call this an avoidant disconnection strategy. When teens feel overwhelmed by shame, helplessness, or anger, they don't know how to express it, so they protect themselves through silence and withdrawal. But many parents misread this. They don't want to talk, so I won't push. It's just a teenage mood, they'll figure it out eventually. This is a risky misunderstanding. The longer the silence lasts, the harder it becomes for your child to trust you again, the more defeated you feel. And eventually, the relationship fractures into two people living separate lives under the same roof. Long-term emotional standoffs are linked to avoidant attachment, emotional suppression, and even depressive tendencies. So what should you do? 3 steps to rebuild emotional connection after a freeze-out. Step 1. Accept their silence. Don't rush to fix things. Don't force them to talk. Just say gently, I know you don't feel like talking right now. That's okay. I respect that. This sends 2 important signals. I'm not trying to control you, and I still care. It softens their defenses and lowers the emotional wall. Step 2. Open a door with low-stakes conversation. Once they've cooled down a bit, don't jump into the issue, the blame, or the outcome. Start with something light, a memory, a random topic. I finally finished that show we started. Guess how it ended? I was going through old photos and found one of you in that little yellow vest. So cute. These pressure-free moments can reawaken connection, even if all you get back is, I barely remember that. That's enough. You're not aiming for a heart-to-heart. You're just breaking the ice. Step 3. Rebuild trust by showing you want to understand. Once things soften, try expressing how you saw the conflict. I've been thinking about our argument. I didn't handle my tone well. I think that might have hurt you. Maybe we could try talking about it differently next time. This isn't about apologizing to make peace. It's about owning your part of the emotional responsibility. It shows your child, you're someone I can talk to. You're safe. Research shows that when a parent can acknowledge their emotions and take initiative to reconnect after conflict, it significantly reduces a child's tendency to shut down, blame themselves, or spiral inward. One more thing. You can't let the silence drag, but you also can't force your way in. Wait too long, and the emotional thread snaps. Push too hard, and they'll retreat even deeper. Your job is to clear the emotional pathway first, then address the issue itself. Remember, the silent treatment isn't defiance. It's retreat into a cave for self-protection. You don't need to break down the cave. Just sit at the entrance. Wait. Stay. Until they're ready to come out. That's the most powerful communication stance in adolescence. Stay steady yourself and wait for them to come closer. Method 3. Stop nagging. What actually gets kids moving is internal drive. Why can't you just take some initiative? You have zero ambition. Sound familiar? Parents push. Kids tune out. Parents plead. Kids stay horizontal. Watching your child drift through life, eyes dull, going through the motions, uninterested in anything, can feel like watching a slow collapse. Is there no hope left? Are they just lazy? Have they given up entirely? Here's the truth. Most teenagers who seem stuck aren't lazy. They've lost their internal drive. What is internal drive? Psychologists developed what's called self-determination theory, which identifies 3 core sources of human motivation. Autonomy, I get to decide. Competence, I can do this. Belonging, I'm valued here. If everything a child does comes from because my parents said so, instead of because I want to, Their effort will always feel forced, even resentful. Teenagers especially need room to feel like this is my choice. Without that, they slip into reverse resistance. The more you push, the more they shut down. The harder you press, the faster they flee. Research shows that when kids feel controlled, their brains activate a protective avoidance response, what we see as procrastination, forgetting, emotional outbursts, or giving up entirely after a wave of self-doubt. So the more you say you have to or you need to do this for me, the more they think, watch me not. What actually moves a child forward isn't pressure. It's lighting the fire inside them. 3 steps to awaken internal drive. From control to self-direction. Step 1. Drop the commands. Give them choices. Instead of, you have to finish your homework by 8, try, do you want to start right after dinner or take a 30-minute break first? It sounds like a small shift, but the effect is worlds apart. Kids don't need you to disappear. They need to feel like, I get to run my own life. That sense of agency dramatically increases initiative. Step 2. Help them rebuild the feeling of I can. Many kids aren't refusing to try. They've already lost faith in themselves. They tried before and got shut down. They made an effort and got compared. They took one step and got criticized. Try saying, I noticed you made a study plan last time. You didn't finish it all, but that's already better than before. I saw you sat down and worked for 10 minutes on your own today. That's real progress. You're not asking them to run a marathon. You're helping them feel, my first step was seen. It mattered. Growth needs encouragement, not constant pushing. Step 3. Inspire a vision, not a threat. Stop saying, if you don't study hard, you'll end up sweeping streets. Start asking, have you ever thought about what kind of person you want to become? If they say, I don't know, that's okay. Explore together. Watch documentaries. Talk about the world. Look at career videos. Even take a personality quiz. Help them see the horizon, not just dread the present. You don't need them to find their purpose today, but you can plant the seed. Life is something I get to shape. The real question isn't, did they study? It's, do they want to? Lighting the spark will always be more effective than pushing from behind. Parents who awaken internal drive don't nag, they guide. They don't say, you should be like this. They ask, who do you want to become? When a child feels like the path is their own, they'll want to keep walking. Method 4. Communication isn't persuasion. It's resonance. And the key is emotional sync. What makes talking to teenagers so hard? It's not that you're not saying anything, it's that they don't want to hear it. It's not that you're saying the wrong thing, it's that they feel you don't get them. The moment you open your mouth to reason, you get, here we go again with the lectures. You don't understand me at all. Can you just stop? Seriously, conversation becomes combat. Tone becomes a trigger. And the relationship is one spark away from explosion. Effective communication isn't about convincing someone. It's about tuning into the same emotional frequency. During adolescence, the brain is undergoing intense changes, especially in the emotional center, which is far more active than the rational one. Logic won't land. But if you can hear what they're feeling, they'll stay in the conversation. This is called emotional resonance, the sense that you actually get me. 3 steps to emotional sync. Step 1. Respond to feelings, not just facts. Wrong approach. What's wrong with you now? Why do you walk around looking miserable all day? Who owes you something? Better approach. You seem a bit off today. Want to take it easy for a bit? I've noticed you've been quieter lately. Are you tired? It's not about asking what happened. It's about saying, I see you. That's what lets them lower their guard and keep talking. Step 2. Pause the lecture. Create a safe space first. You can say, I'm not here to criticize. I just want to understand how you're thinking. I promise I won't interrupt. Let's just talk. I'm listening. This kind of equal footing is the key to breaking through their defenses. Because what teenagers fear most is being talked down to being the one who only gets scolded. When you step off the pedestal, the quality of the conversation rises. Step 3. Be a mirror. Reflect what they say back to them. If your child says, "I feel like no matter how hard I try, nothing works," don't immediately argue. Instead, say, "It sounds like you're feeling really defeated, like nothing you do makes a difference." This kind of reflective feedback shows them, "You actually heard me." Teenagers aren't afraid of what you'll say. They're afraid you won't hear what they say. Before every blow-up, there's a long stretch where they were holding it in, waiting for you to understand. Beneath every cold silence is a quiet hope that you'll really come close. Communication isn't about how much you say, it's about whether you catch the emotion before you respond to the content. You won't always say the perfect thing, but if you're sincere, gentle, and patient, eventually your child will feel it. You're not trying to win me over. You're trying to understand me. That's where connection begins. Shift communication from persuasion to resonance, and you'll finally start moving toward each other. Method 5. How to repair a wounded heart after conflict. How many parents have lived through moments like these? One sentence lands too hard and your child slams the door. One heated argument and they won't speak to you for days. One emotional explosion, you call them useless, and later, you're the one in tears. What damages a parent-child relationship most isn't conflict itself. It's what doesn't happen afterward. Teenagers may act tough and defiant on the outside, but inside, they're incredibly sensitive. One dismissive comment can stay with them for a year. One look of disappointment makes them think you hate me. One outburst, and they start quietly building distance in their heart. Why? Fast repair matters after conflict. Research shows that adolescents' emotional regulation systems are still developing, which makes them highly prone to forming imprint memories after emotional impact. If you don't repair, the conflict doesn't just fade. It settles into your child's mind as, "I'm not understood in this family. No one cares how I feel. It doesn't matter what I do wrong, they'll just yell anyway." Over time, they pull away, they shut down, and eventually, the connection breaks entirely. The golden window, act within 48 hours. Psychologists call the time after a conflict the relational buffer zone. If parents respond effectively during this window, they can stop the damage and sometimes even bring the relationship closer than before. So how do you do it? The 5-step repair method. Step 1. Attend to emotions first, not right or wrong. Don't rush in with logic right after a fight. Start with, "That must have been really hard for you too." Or even just, "Let's both cool off. We can talk later." If the emotion isn't held, every lesson is just noise. Step 2. Own your emotional slip. This isn't losing, it's modeling for your child. Say, "I raised my voice too much today. I didn't manage my emotions well, and I feel bad about that." This helps your child realize adults lose control too. Taking responsibility for your emotions isn't shameful. And that's how they learn to manage, not explode. Step 3. Offer to reconnect. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Don't ice it out. Don't wait for time to fix things. Say clearly, "I'd like to talk about how we can avoid fights like that in the future." This isn't about solving the issue yet. It's about sending a signal, "I want back into this relationship." Step 4. Use "I feel" instead of "you did." Avoid, "How could you talk to me like that?" Try, "When you said that, I felt really hurt." Blame triggers defense. Feeling invites empathy. The goal of communication isn't to win, it's to understand. Step 5. Rebuild closeness without words. Sometimes repair doesn't need a conversation, a gentle hand on their shoulder, a little joke at dinner, a cup of warm milk set quietly on their desk. These become signals. We're still okay. Kids may not hear your words, but they feel your presence. Repair is a core parenting skill. Conflict isn't dangerous. Silence is. Emotional outbursts aren't shameful. Failing to mend is. Your teenager is like a young wolf testing boundaries. You have to be firm with them and stay close. When you hurt them, you also have to be brave enough to reach out, even when they're prickly. You'll never be a perfect parent, but you can become a parent who knows how to repair. That ability is what keeps a family from breaking. Method 6. Your emotional stability determines whether your child feels safe enough to come close. It's not that I don't love them. They just push every button I have. The second they talk back, I explode. I'm not always like this, but they always hit me where it hurts most. Many parents believe, if my kid would just behave, I wouldn't get angry. If they'd just improve, we'd all be fine. But in adolescent parenting, the truth is this. What shapes the quality of your relationship isn't your child's emotions, it's your own stability. Why emotional steadiness is the most important skill for parents of teens. Teenagers experience frequent emotional swings. Their amygdala, the brain's emotional center, is hypersensitive, while the prefrontal cortex, the rational center, is still under construction. In other words, they can't manage themselves yet. If you can't stay steady, everything falls apart. You flare up, they explode. You stay grounded, they slowly calm down. Research confirms, when at least one person in the family can remain emotionally stable, conflict eases, resistance drops, and communication and guidance become far more effective. 3 emotional traps parents often fall into. 1. Feeling humiliated when they talk back. One pushback from your child and your brain screams, after everything I've done, this is how they treat me? But it's not really about them. You've equated their disagreement with rejection. 2. Feeling powerless when they go cold. You try reasoning, they don't listen. You move closer, they pull away. Eventually, you start to feel, I have no value in this relationship at all. It's not that they look down on you. They just don't know how to be close. Number 3. Feeling like a failure when they dismiss you. 1. Just leave me alone from your child, and a deep fear rises. Am I really that bad at this? To break out of these traps, start practicing these 3 emotional anchoring techniques. First, when emotions rise, pause. Don't react. Silently repeat 3 things. Their mood right now doesn't mean I've failed. I'm not fighting them, I'm guiding them. I can respond later. This delayed response is the simplest and most powerful way to stay stable. For example, you see your child on their phone again. Instead of snapping, walk away. Do something else. Give yourself 5 minutes before deciding what to do. Second, use breath and movement to interrupt the spiral. When your heart pounds, your palms sweat, and anger starts to rise, take 3 deep breaths. Then physically shift your state. Leave the room, drink a glass of water, step onto the balcony, and look at the sky. These small moves interrupt your brain's fight or flight mode. Third, reflect afterward without self-blame. Don't think, why did I lose it again? Ask instead, what triggered me? How can I prepare better next time? Whose support do I need? Emotional regulation isn't about suppressing yourself. It's about becoming your own tuning fork. When you stay steady, your home stays steady. When you don't explode, your child doesn't run. You don't have to never get angry, but you do need to stop getting swept away by your child's emotional current. You are the thermostat and the steering wheel of this family. When you're stable, They know which way to go. Method 7. Rules not working? You don't need more of them. You need shared ownership. I've told them 100 times. It goes in one ear and out the other. I put house rules on the wall. They didn't even glance at them. I said 30 minutes of screen time. They played for 2 hours and acted like that was perfectly fine. One of the most common struggles in families with teenagers? Rules that don't stick. Many parents wonder, I set boundaries. Why don't they work? They know they're not supposed to. Why do they keep breaking them? Do I need stricter rules? Harsher consequences? But the real answer is, it's not that your rules aren't strong enough. It's that your child was never part of making them. Research shows only rules a child helps create carry internal weight. There's a well-known principle in psychology called the consensus effect. When people have a voice in shaping rules, they're more likely to accept and follow them. This is especially true in adolescence. When self-awareness surges, teens no longer accept being managed. They want to be respected. So if the rule came entirely from you, no matter how reasonable, they'll resist it on principle. Only when they participate, express themselves, and choose do they start to treat the rule as theirs. This is called the participatory rule-making method. How to do it. A 3-part framework. Draft, negotiate, co-enforce. Step 1. Draft turn commands into conversations. Don't write rules on a piece of paper and stick them on the fridge. Instead, sit down together. Speak as equals. Ask, what do you think is a fair amount of screen time each day, something that won't hurt your schoolwork? Hear them out. Don't immediately shut them down, even if they say 2 hours a day. Follow up with, if that's the plan, when would you do your homework? Let them notice the contradiction. Let them revise their own proposal. This isn't giving in. It's building their logic and their sense of responsibility. Step 2. Negotiate, not compromise, but shared accountability. Once they've offered a rough idea, add your perspective. I get that you want downtime, but I care about your sleep and focus. Can we try 1 hour for 2 weeks and see how it goes? The goal isn't for you to win. It's for both of you to shape the decision together. Write down the final agreement. Better yet, have them write it out and sign it. That small ritual reinforces ownership and a sense of contract. Step 3. Co-enforce clear monitoring, clear consequences. Use checklists, timers, or screen time tracking apps. Consequences shouldn't be fines, they should be loss of privileges. When rules are broken, don't yell. Just enforce what was already agreed. For example, we agreed that going over screen time means no phone the next day. You used 90 minutes today, so tomorrow it's paused. No emotion, no drama, just holding the line. That consistency is the education. The most powerful teaching in a home isn't strict rules. It's the mindset of, I helped build this, so I'll uphold it. You're not a surveillance officer. You're a co-creator of structure. They're not passive followers. They're co-guardians of order. The more ownership they feel, the deeper their sense of responsibility. You don't set rules so they'll obey. You set rules to teach them that self-discipline isn't something handed down, it's something they build for themselves. Method 8. How to help your child build identity beyond grades. Every time they don't do well on a test, they completely fall apart. She always thinks she's not as good as everyone else, even when her grades are fine. He says, I can't do anything right. I'm just a failure. If you've heard your child say things like this, know that the real issue isn't the grades. It's a fractured sense of self. What is self-identity? Psychologists describe adolescence as the critical period for forming identity, answering the questions, who am I? What am I worth? But in today's education system, most kids are only allowed to measure their value through scores, rankings, and awards. So when results slip, they feel like they've lost everything. Over time, This leads to 3 dangerous mindsets. Conditional worth. I'm only lovable if I'm excellent. Internalized shame. I'm worse than others, so I don't deserve to be liked. Chronic self-doubt. I'll never catch up. These are the breeding grounds for anxiety, self-loathing, and even depression. Your words are the mirror your child uses to see themselves. How you talk about them shapes how they talk to themselves. If you only focus on grades, they'll only see scores. If you only smile when they do well, they learn, I have to perform for love. That's why we must help children build a sense of worth that's layered, stable, and internal. 3 steps to rebuild identity beyond achievement. Step 1. Affirm more than the result. Try. You didn't score well this time, but I noticed how focused you were doing your homework. I saw you helping your friend understand that problem. You were so patient and clear. You may be quiet, but I know how thoughtful you are. That's a rare and valuable quality. Pull their worth back from outcome to process and character. Step 2. Build a multidimensional value list together. Sit with your child and write down, besides grades, what else am I good at, or what do I have? Music, drawing, sports, listening, observing, logical thinking, humor, sensitivity, empathy. Help them see, I'm not just a student. I'm also a friend, a creator, an observer. I have many identities, not just test taker. This exercise helps them reclaim a fuller picture of who they are. Step 3. Let them feel unconditionally loved. When they're struggling, say, no matter what your score is, you're still my favorite person in the world. We can look at what went wrong together, but you'll always be worthy of love. This isn't coddling. It's empowerment. You don't need constant cheerleading. What you need is steady love that helps them weather the storms. Do you want a child who endlessly chases being number one, or a child whose inner stability lets them find themselves even when life gets rough? Many breakdowns aren't about bad grades. They're about a child who's decided, I have no value. Parents must take on the work of building inner strength. You're not just the homework supervisor. You're the architect of their self-worth. Method 9. Facing rebellion. And push back how to stay present without overpowering. Who gives you the right to tell me what to do? This is my life. Stay out of it. The more you push, the less I'll listen. Are these lines showing up more and more in your conversations? Many parents say, painfully, they're getting more defiant every day, and they don't know whether to tighten the grip or let go entirely. So let's get to the heart of it. How do you hold your ground without crushing theirs? Rebellion isn't bad. It's your child, building psychological boundaries. Developmental psychology tells us rebellious behavior is a natural part of identity formation in adolescence. Kids start rejecting the idea of, I'm the obedient one, and move toward, I have my own mind. If you clamp down, they push back harder. If you disappear, they cross lines. You're not trying to defeat them. You're trying to stay standing. Staying present means you remain the emotional anchor, the boundary setter, the source of safety, not the loudest voice, and not the one who walks away. It means you know your own principles. You manage your own emotions. You speak your position and honor theirs. 3 practical moves to build grounded presence. Move 1. When challenged, don't react. Reaffirm your role. If your child says, I don't want to study, leave me alone, you can respond, I hear that you don't want to listen right now, but as your parent, it's my job to point certain things out. No argument, no force. Just a calm message. I'm still here. I'm not leaving. That steadiness is what they need. Move 2. Don't argue with emotion. Set boundaries around behavior. When emotions run high, door slamming, shouting, Snapping back, don't fire back, but don't ignore it either. Wait until they've calmed. Then say, calmly, I understand you were upset, but the way you spoke made it really hard to have a conversation. Let them know, I can hold space for your feelings, but I won't accept being hurt. That's what respectful boundaries look like. Move 3. On non-negotiables, hold the line. Things like coming home late without notice, lying about grades, dangerous online behavior. These don't bend. You can say, we had an agreement. You broke it. That makes it hard to trust you next time. Then follow through on the agreed consequence, reduced freedom, paused privileges. You're not punishing. You're showing. Boundaries have weight. Promises have consequences. The most powerful parents aren't the ones who control behavior, they're the ones whose children still feel steady love and presence even after pushing back. You can feel emotional but not chaotic. You can stand firm but never humiliate. You can express frustration and still protect their dignity. That's the kind of parent teenagers actually respect and listen to. Method 10. When your child falls, the deepest love isn't fixing it for them. It's standing beside them while they get back up. I told you that wouldn't work. Why do you keep making the same dumb mistakes? You can't even handle a little setback? When kids stumble, many parents react not with support but with criticism. And then there's the opposite extreme. Swooping in immediately, solving everything, doing it for them. Homework's late? The parent copies it. Friendship drama? The parent calls the other kid's family. Grades drop? The parent quits their job to supervise full-time. You think you're helping, but really, you're stripping away their chance to grow stronger. Real growth requires letting children build resilience through falling and rising again. Research on psychological resilience shows that a child's ability to cope with setbacks, bounce back, and experience long-term well-being doesn't come from never failing. It comes from getting back up on their own. If you solve every problem the moment it appears, they never learn how to take responsibility, how to face hard emotions, how to rebuild confidence. So when your child falls, the wisest response isn't to rush in, it's to offer presence and trust and activate their own capacity to recover. 3 steps to supportive letting go, teaching, ownership, and rebuilding. Step 1. Catch the emotion first, not the mistake. After a failure, what kids fear most is 2 words. I'm wrong. So they lie, deny, avoid. You can say, you're probably feeling pretty down right now. That's okay, everyone messes up sometimes. That's not excusing. That's releasing them from shame. Only when the emotion is held can the mind start thinking clearly again. Step 2. Don't take over, guide them to reflect. Ask, which part of this do you think didn't go well? If something like this happens again, how might you handle it? Don't tell them, here's what you should have done. Let them say, here's what I could try. This kind of guidance builds their ability to analyze, adapt, and own outcomes. Step 3. Co-create a recovery plan. Don't just say, don't do it again. Write it down together. What's your next step? Who can help? What's your backup if you hit a wall emotionally? Give them a framework to land on, not just a slogan to forget. Kids who truly rise from failure have one thing in common. A parent who didn't rush to rescue, but never stopped standing beside them. Letting go isn't giving up. It's believing they can stand. If you catch them every time they fall, they'll always depend on you. If you scold them every time they fall, they'll stop trying. But if you say, I believe you can handle this. I won't do it for you, but I'm right here. They'll remember, I'm not as fragile as I thought. If I want to, I can get back up. That's the most valuable thing you can ever teach them. Your child's adolescence is your own season of growth. Dear parent, now that you've walked through all 10 of these methods, maybe you're starting to see. Adolescence isn't just your child's growing pain, it's your own deep invitation to evolve. We wanted them to mature quickly, but forgot we also need to learn gentleness and firmness. We longed for them to be easy and cooperative without realizing that communication, boundaries, trust, and emotional regulation are all skills we can develop too. In this process, we're not supervisors, not controllers, certainly not perfect. We're companions, repairers, partners learning and growing alongside them. Adolescence isn't a crisis. It's a chance to reshape the relationship. The more you grow, the stronger your child becomes. The steadier you are, the more courage they have to move forward. Believe this. No one is born knowing how to raise a child, but there's a version of you willing to become the parent they need. May these 10 methods become the anchor that steadies your family through the storm. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be there warm, steady, clear when your child needs you most. When you hold your ground, they dare to go far. Let's walk through adolescence together, not as a battle to survive, but as a journey of shared becoming.